Nice one, birdie. Over there.
You want me to drop ult on the guys over there and then head up?
No armor and bang.
Oh my god, okay. Oh, they're going up.
He's down.
Nice.
Full squad up there.
Yep.
Guys, I might be straight dead here.
Oh shit.
What the? Ranked in Apex Legends has been quite the journey. What felt like just a few ups over a lot of downs has finally led me and my squad into the Diamond rank, a whole month after Season 2 has launched. Naturally, content creators along the lines of Shroud and players who are invested into Apex as their main game have gotten there a long time ago. And I'm not even gonna start talking about Apex Predators. There are a lot of scary players out there who make for very tough opponents. And very often, it feels like you're not just competing with them, but you're also fighting against the game itself. By now it is no secret that players have agreed to Apex Ranked having become a camp fest, and a lot of them are not taking too kindly at that. The investment of ranked points that are put into every single match above bronze incentivizes us to play defensively until our passive placement has brought us to the big fat net zero. And even though the addition of Wattson hugely contributes to the defensive camping playstyle of many, I'm still thankful they added her to the game. Because quite frankly, there are means and ways of combating campers, but one thing that I personally really hate are grenades. So having a trophy system in Apex Legends is actually not too bad of a thing. At least if you were to ask me. Now, if we look at ranked as a whole and this whole sentiment that camping is the way to go, reason would suggest that I too have gotten to Diamond by camping my way up there, right? Well, that is only partially correct. I, just like many others, enjoy consuming content surrounding the games I play, and since Overwatch and Apex are my main time sinks right now, I just so happen to watch videos on both of these titles. My squad and I definitely tried very hard to make the camping playstyle work that we have seen other content creators pull off because, just like the next guy, we didn't want to needlessly lose RP, but that only granted us occasional success.
There was one over there.
Lifeline hurt, 150, down. Easy clap.
Alright, Jesus Christ, finally.
There is a lot of validity to camping playstyles showing success on ranked, not necessarily because you are constantly avoiding combat, but because it allows you to fight around a protected fortress. What you have seen in that clip was us taking turns running around a reinforced building while the others were healing inside. So it wasn't just the immediate threat of the traps we used to protect the house, but also the fact that one of us was combat ready at all times. So chasing us down when we're low to finish us off is actually very difficult. But you'll also have noticed that we don't sound very ecstatic about winning that game. And that even though it came with a hefty dose of bonus RP that got us a promotion. And that's because we just really didn't enjoy that playstyle. Here, take a look at this clip by comparison. Up top, up top, up top. Octane armor. No armor on the guy up top. Wow, what the Now, before you start asking questions about why I am hard ADSing on shotguns, let me take your attention away and back to this discussion. The clip I've just played has clearly shown us winning a fight while completely undergeared, obviously using scraps we have looted off of other bodies. It is about the scummiest way to win a game, right? But looking at our statistics for that game, our damage and frags are actually very much in line with your average competitive round. And that's because we have not found ourselves in a situation where we try to avoid combat at any cost. It's that we got an absolutely terrible early game drop and immediately lost the first fight we got into. The sole survivor for our group managed to grab the banners, get a revive, and from there on out we were constantly on the run. The reason that winning this round felt so good was because of the adversity we were facing. The whole game was an odyssey to us, and despite all odds, we managed to pull off the win, and that simply feels really good. There are no stories to tell when you sit in a building for 15 minutes to then roll the dice and find out if that group you're facing now has better gear than you, because that's what we figured happened to us very often. Most of the time when we tried to go for the camping playstyle with us never taking fights before top 10, we would be stuck with whatever we found in the early game. Even small rotations that follow the circle would not necessarily grant us the gear we needed to consistently be successful in the end game. Now, there are a couple factors at play here. For one, what we have spent our time doing in Apex before Ranked was introduced simply came down to pub stomping. We followed every sound we heard to engage in as many fights as possible to get our score as high as possible. We will be running at enemy squads with reckless abandon because in games that are super popular, your average player just is not very dangerous. Naturally, us being so aggressive and quite frankly so cocky has cost us many a game. However, it worked well enough to which we just kept doing it. So to go from a hyper-mobile, super aggressive kind of playstyle to a completely stationary RNG-based one just did not sit well with us. Because our primary means of obtaining loot was by taking it from other players, rather than relying on scouring dozens of buildings. So after a lot of games that only granted us a couple RP at best while camping, we grew extremely frustrated. And we said, you know what? Screw this, I'm done camping. Okay, normal.
Sorry, close.
Wouldn't happen anyway. How does that stop me? I'm on the wrong side of this flank.
Lifeline armor.
Hog. We knew there had to be a middle ground. The chances of us running into actually competent players on ranked was simply much higher than in the casual queue. So we figured that our preferred playstyle revolved around never stopping to move. And don't get me wrong, it was not an immediate success, we just grew very tired of camping. It took us a while to find the perfect balance in our own playstyle, and we learned that we lost more often while stationary than while on the move. So while we were not going out of our way to take every fight we can get our hands on, we would constantly be rotating all the time. It increased our chances of catching somebody off guard rather than us being the ones who end up with our pants down. And we will try to minimize the impact of loot RNG by visiting many different locations in addition to taking the odd fight here and there. We dropped Watson and Caustic in favor of me going back to my one-trick legend Lifeline, and we added a Bangalore to the mix, because the smoke grenade is an invaluable tool to block line of sight to sniper nests and other similar camps. And obviously, Wraith is just the perfect character that allows you to safely rotate without getting poked all the time, which in turn is gonna waste all of your meds. And with that composition as our default, we started winning way more. Tap one.
Last squad. I don't have any light.
On the other side.
Tap one.
Two down.
26, white armor. 99 on that guy. I'm pushing him. That guy down. On me.
That guy's one.
Got him. We traded.
White.
Good job. Go time. Up top. Still up top. Good job. Naturally, I am not here saying that this is the objectively best way to play ranked. Some of you might find more success actually going full-on camping mode, others might want to go for a mix of camping and aggressive rotations, but for us, always being on the move and never standing still has just proven to work the best. We get antsy when we don't do anything for too long.
Oh. Nope, I'm good. Put it back. Put it back. I'm serious.
I don't believe in this as a diamond play.
Yes. Yes. No one can shoot me, dude. Okay, I'm actually stuck. I actually can't move. I'm not even kidding. I'm crouching and it won't let me get up. Okay.
We are too reliant on early game RNG, and we are at the mercy of others engaging in on us, rather than us provoking the fight and trying to catch somebody off guard. As much as having a reinforced house is very useful to play around, as I said in the beginning, there are means and ways of smoking out campers, even when they have a Watson. Some people out there keep their composure better, maybe they identify opportunities while stationary better than us, but at the end of the day, it was about finding out what works for us, and this was simply it. With all of that out of the way, I cut the clip at the beginning early, so I think it's finally time to show you guys the final moments of the match that promoted me into the diamond rank. If you enjoyed this video, do let me know by dropping me a like on your way out and consider subscribing if you want to see more. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. Going, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good.
Guy dropped from the sky.
Shit. No,
Oh
no
my God,
armor,
he's
no armor.
right here,
Right
he's
here.
right here.
104.
Nice, nice, nice.
Cliff, I'll let you know.
They
if they're
won't let
dropping
us do this.
They did.
down. Right.
They jumped.
They really just, they Orion ulted us.
Doesn't actually hit us soon.
Yeah, it doesn't. We're good.
Octane 1.
Down. One's still above, I think. Oh, behind. Tank floor low.
Easy,
Big
guys.
hog. That's how I get f***ing diamond, dude. Fuck.
Jumping was not the play. They should have waited.
We all maxed out our points.
Good
We all
job.
maxed out our points.
Holy
Oh, good shit, guys. Holy crap.
good shit for real.